Woo! What's going on, guys? Owen Swarm coming at you guys today with another video. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about outside linebacker edge James Houston, 6th round pick out of Jackson State, a Jackson State Tiger, a rookie. I'm excited for this kid, but we're going to pump the brakes a little bit on him. You know, they got people out there saying that this kid, you know, is the next is the next LT. So we just got to calm down a little bit, but I am very excited that this kid is going to make his debut. No, not his debut, his second appearance for the Detroit Lions, because some bad news on the defensive Lions front. They did put defensive end Charles Harris on IR. They're going to shut him down for the rest of the year. He's going on at least a 4-game hiatus. He will be gone, possibly probably the rest of the season. Who knows? A very disappointing second year for Charles Harris, who had a nice kind of resurrection year last year, coming in, looking like a first-round bust for the Miami Dolphins back when we drafted Jared Davis. It was in that class. I wanted Charles Harris, by the way, coming out of Missouri, but we drafted Jared Davis, and then the next pick right after was the Miami Dolphins, and they took Charles Harris, kind of busted out in Miami. Was there 2-3 years whenever he was there, and then went to Atlanta for a season, had a few sacks, got a little bit better, and then Atlanta let him go, and then we picked him up, and he had a pretty good, solid year last year for how bad our defense was. He had a pretty good year with 7.5 sacks, was getting to the quarterback, he was making plays, but this year, he played 4 or 5 games, had 1 sack, a big sack too. It was in the end zone against Carson Wentz. That went for a safety. But other than that, he was kind of a ghost. He disappeared and then ended up getting hurt, and then now he's shut down for a bit. Now in walks James Houston last week against the Buffalo Bills, just sitting on the sidelines waiting for his opportunity, wasn't getting into the game, and then Julian Okwara goes down, okay? Julian Okwara goes down, got a hyperextended his elbow, whatever he did, hurt his arm somehow, trying to put some weight on his arm when he was slipping, trying to attack Josh Allen, and ended up getting hurt. Now, James Houston was just sitting there. Julian Okwara goes down. James Houston has 5 defensive snaps for the Detroit Lions. Gets 2 sacks. Did play some special teams, though. Actually had a fumble, a punt return fumble by Khalif Raymond, and he jumped on it. Good football awareness. So making plays in 5 defensive snaps, made 3 plays. Now, he was a 6th round pick last year, or this year. Brad Holmes took a flyer on this kid. He did play some football at Florida. He was a Florida Gator, played in the SEC, played for 3 years there. Now, I've kind of done this video before because I talked about James Houston when we drafted him, obviously. But his college stats, 3 years at Florida, total tackles, 100, 10.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. That's what he really was at Florida. He was a linebacker at Florida as a Gator. So nothing eye-popping, right? Like 3 years, it's just, nothing eye-popping. Just a guy that contributes every now and then, produces at a low level. But he does put up some nice tackles for losses. The 10.5 tackles for losses is something to keep an eye on, and he intrigued me. I remember when we drafted this kid. I'm going to be 100% honest with you because I try to be honest all the time. I didn't really know who this kid was. I had to pretty much go look for this kid's tape. The Florida tape, it just wasn't like, it wasn't eye popping or anything like that. But then if you find the Jackson State Tigers tape is very eye-popping. Yes, it's a smaller school, but he balled out. So like I said, he was a Florida Gator for 3 years, went to the transfer portal, probably wasn't sure about his playing time, but he wanted to go play somewhere else, do something, go where Deion Sanders is the head coach. And he became a known commodity at Jackson State, nicknaming him the Problem. But basically because of his last name, Houston, we have a problem. It was one of the Jackson State commentators who nicknamed him that, who coined that phrase, the problem. So He goes to Jackson State for 1 year, 70 tackles, 24 and a half tackles for loss, 16 and a half sacks. This is 1 year. 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, a pick, 10 QB hits, a pass deflection, and a couple touchdowns. Don't really know where his touchdowns came from. Couldn't find that. Don't know if he was given the ball at the goal line. Don't know if they were maybe defensive touchdowns on possibly a forced fumble, and he fell on the ball in the end zone, picked it up and ran. Can't really find it, but he did have 2 touchdowns at Jackson State. Now, I remember seeing, and I think I talked about this in my video about James Houston. I remember seeing they kind of did like almost like a Hard Knocks version with Jackson State last year. And James Houston had a feature in one of the episodes. I think the team was having a hard time trying to figure out what to do with James Houston. So either Houston kind of like wanted to talk to Deion Sanders and his D coordinator or linebacker coach or whoever it was he was talking with. There was 2 other guys. There was I believe it was the D coordinator, and Deion Sanders was behind his desk. He's the head coach, and James Houston. James Houston was kind of chirping at Deion and the guy sitting next to him saying, "You guys are underappreciating me. You don't know where to put me, this, that." He was like, "I can bring a lot to the table. You guys just don't trust me." I was like, "I want to gain your trust, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Just play me this, that, and this." Kind of sounded a little bit like he was whining a bit, kind of sounded a little bit like a diva. Just a bit, just a tad. I'm not putting any shade on this kid at all. Just wanted to play. But it seemed like the coaching staff really was having a hard time, didn't know what to do with him. So Deion's like, "We're moving you. You're not playing linebacker here at Jackson State. You're not starting over so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so." Don't remember the names. Sorry, guys. I could go back and look for the tape, but I didn't. But he wasn't starting at linebacker. But Deion says, "Well, we see something in you. We want you on the field. We're going to put you at defensive end." The kid was like, "Whoa, what, really?" He didn't want to do it. He was reluctant to do it. Flat out told Deion, man, he's like, "I don't think that's a good idea, blah, blah, this and that." Deion's like, well, Deion being Deion, listening to him, sitting there, listening to him. All right. He's like, "You done? Done talking? Okay, now it's my turn. This is the thing. This is what it's going to be. This is Deion talking to James Houston. We want you on this team. We're moving you. It's that simple. You either go with it or you don't. It's up to you. We want you on this football field. We think you can add to this defense, that we already have a pretty good defense. And we want to put you at defensive end, even though, you're a smaller D end at 6'1", 240 pounds. I believe he's lost weight too, as a Detroit Lion, but that's a whole other thing. So the kid was like, okay, he's like, "I'll do whatever you say, coach, man." He's like, okay. But you can tell the kid didn't like what it was being told. But this is what he came out and did. 70 tackles, 24 and a half tackles for loss, 16 and a half sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 pick, 10 quarterback hits, pass deflect, and 2 touchdowns somewhere along those lines. Nicknamed The Problem during all that, was coined that nickname. So turned into a pretty well-known commodity, and he got himself drafted. That's what got himself drafted. Kid worked hard, worked at his craft. When you see this kid play, like when you see him play, he's one of those natural pass rushers. He has moves. He dips. He swims if he has to. Rips, dips, swims, spins, does it all. Got leverage, got quicks, got some power. Yes, he went to a small school, like I said. I keep saying it. But if you can ball, you can ball. But he ended up getting drafted because of those numbers at Jackson State. Bottom line. Now, what does he do? He comes in, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, a fumble recovery. And now he's a candidate for the Pepsi Rookie of the Week. Pepsi Rookie of the Week from the NFL Network. Just heard it literally 2 minutes ago before I walked downstairs to do my video. So this kid kind of came onto the scene, man. They didn't know where. And if you followed this kid, and if you follow this whole team, obviously, like I have during the training camp, they had a real struggle trying to figure out, just like at Jackson State, what they were going to do with this kid. They tried him at linebacker. It didn't look like it was working out. Then they're like, let's put him at D end. He looked better, even though he was a smaller defensive end. He was running by guys. He was blowing O linemen out of the water. They still didn't know what to do with him though. So they put him on the practice squad, and he's been sitting there for 2 months. He's been sitting there for 2 months waiting, and they've watched this kid develop. They've watched him grow, and he got a shot last week to at least dress, come on the scene, and then he got opportunity. You know, it kind of sucked that Akwara went down, but that's how guys get opportunities sometimes. And he made his moment shine, if you say. So, but we got to be careful a little bit. I'm talking this kid up really good, I know, and I'm very excited to see what they do with him, because he could possibly be starting. But Charles Harris is done. Julian Akwara, I don't know the severity of his injury. Pascal is hurt. Defensive ends are kind of, we got John Kaminsky still. So Kaminsky's probably going to get a little more playing time. But Houston's probably going to come in on packages. He's definitely going to play more than 5 defensive snaps against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you can get to Trevor Lawrence. You can really get to him. So I'm excited for him, but we got to just lower expectations a bit. I got some guy arguing with me on Facebook yesterday, and it was a civil argument. He was telling me he was already better than Charles Harris. I'm like, calm down. I go, Charles Harris is no superstar by any stretch. He's not even a star. Just kind of there, kind of a player that kind of resurrected his career. But don't tell me he's better than Charles Harris right now. It's just not a fact, man. It's not fact. Could it be? Could this kid come in, man, and take over the world? Who knows? Could he come in and get 2 sacks a game for the rest of the season? Maybe. But let's chill a bit. Last week, Buffalo was kind of sprung upon Buffalo. Buffalo had no tape on this kid, obviously. But he blew by those defensive linemen, man. He blew by that right tackle on the one. I think it was 2 right tackles. I think it was both sacks on the right tackle. Whoever that right tackle was got abused on that. I'm pretty sure it was on the right tackle, both sacks. I know one was for sure. But we just got to lower expectations a bit. I'm excited for this kid, though. He's worked his tail off, obviously. Couldn't find a spot for him during the TC, during training camp, but they have now. I think he's back to pretty much rush outside linebacker. That's what he is. Now, that's basically what his niche is. That's what he does. That's what he does. So let's not say that this kid's going to be dropping back into coverage anytime soon. I don't know. I'm sure he has the ability. He did it at Florida a little bit, but his job is to get to the quarterback. So I'm excited for it, man. Just lower expectations a little bit, guys. Let's see what he brings to Jacksonville. Jacksonville might have a little more tape on him now. Obviously, they're going to see what this kid did against Buffalo, and they're going to be like, all right, man, keep an eye on this kid. Maybe we need to kind of worry about him a little bit, but I'm not sure they're going to be doubling up on him or anything like that. But it is exciting to have another pass rushing outside linebacker on this football team. So congratulations to James Houston making this 53. He looks like he's a mainstay. And let's go get those sacks, brother. That's it, man. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for paying attention to the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, get all my videos. And don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys feel, man? Houston's in the building. James Houston, get to the quarterback. Let's go, brother. Let's go get Trevor Lawrence. T-Law, you're next, baby. One Pride, go Lions. Boom.